Now, I just want to let you guys know. Imagine you work at a bar, or accountant, or you're you work at the registration office. You see three different kinds of people walk up to you, and they're all saying different things, but they mean the same thing. That's exactly what happened at Goblin Slayer, which is ironic because before I watched this show, today's episode, well, yesterday's episode, at work, the same thing happened to me at work. Three people came up to me talking about different things, but they were all meant the same thing. And just made no sense. But again, that's the cultural differences in the world we have. In any world you have, you always have that different culture and differences. This is what I was saying about the anime cartoon thing. One country says anime, other country says cartoon, but it all means the same thing. It can say same thing with chicken. One country will say chicken differently, another country will say chicken differently. Like for instance, America, we say chicken. In Mexico, they say polo. So together, it means different things. So it was just very coincidental that how the episode started out. So anyways, you have an elf, a dwarf, and a lizard man coming into the guild, and they're all asking for the Goblin Slayer, but they don't mean it. For instance, Orcblorg. Do we know what that means? The beard cutter. That definitely makes no sense. Like, why would you call the Goblin Slayer beard cutter? Like, how do you expect me to know you're talking about the Goblin Slayer? I remember the beard cutter. I haven't seen any barbers around here, stars, so I don't know who the beard cutter is. You only see his face. And again, you don't need to see someone's face to cut a beard. But at the exact same time, he hunts goblins. You could have said something a lot more, something that makes sense. Come on. Anyways, I was told, and I do remember it now, from last review, someone said that there will be no official names for any of the characters. They'll just be named based off their class. So yeah, so that's actually very convenient for me actually, so I don't have to remember any more names, because I want to admit, sometimes remembering names in anime is very difficult because how you pronounce them and if the names don't come up a lot. So this episode, in a way, it was very, very character driven. Like, this is probably the most character driven episode we got so far in the show. The first one was an introduction to the cruel dark world. Number 2 was more about the Goblin Slayer and his insanity rage for killing goblins. No matter how other people look down on it and say it's just a simple bottom class adventurers, sure. But then, as I said in the last video, that these little things have the biggest impact on the community. Because while the higher ups are too busy fighting like overseas threats and stuff like that, we have our own problems with thugs and gangs, and that's what goblins are in their world. They're thugs and gangs. So they need someone to protect them from that, and not all the cops do that very well, so you come and you have the Goblin Slayer. He slays down all the thugs and gangs. So yay for that. So anyways, this episode also shows how the Goblin Slayer doesn't care for nothing else for goblins. We know that, but this shows it to an extra extent. So yes, there is a demon lord in this world as well, and he has resurrected and creating an army. The elf girl just brought it up, saying how they need help, they need strong people in order to fight off the demon lord in his army. And of course, Goblin Slayer said no. So they said, how can you turn your back against that? He's saying the demon lord's army is a threat, but however, at the same time, you can leave that up to higher class adventurers. You're still gonna need someone, like I said, back at the home base, holding things down. It's just because you're fighting off a bigger threat doesn't mean the little threats are going to disappear just like that. So the Goblin Slayer, in a way, made sense. Not every story, not every hero story is going to be off going to a big adventure and protecting the world. Some hero stories are just being in their hometown and being all that they can be by protecting everyone that they can, or just slaying goblins. Exactly how it is. Now that we got that out of the way, they are finally on another adventure, a goblin's nest, apparently. Apparently goblins can evolve, they become hero goblin, and even higher ups than that. Like, that's crazy. There's even goblins out there that have the strength to really compare with a platinum adventurer. Like, wow, it's pretty interesting. So of course Goblin Slayer will say yes to that, and this is where the character development gets into. The best way to have a great, what you call, coffee scene is when you have them doing it over food. You see, the best way to do a coffee scene is not doing it with coffee or sitting at a cafe. The best way to do it is doing it just by eating different kinds of food. I've seen it a lot in all kinds of shows where people, a group of adventurers come together and they have different sides of culture across the world, and they get to know each other by food. Like I said before, the trading industry is how the world was truly united in the past, is by showing what you have to offer to the other country, and they'll give you something in return. So of course, the elf girl, she's a vegetarian, so she couldn't eat any meat. The lizard man, he never had cheese before because his people only hunt animals and they never herd or breed them. So therefore, when he tasted cheese, he thought it was a true delicacy made by the gods. And of course, the dwarf brought in some very fire wine, a wine that is just so strong. If you're not used to drinking wine, you will more likely pass out or get extremely intoxicated just by one gulp. It's very powerful stuff. And so it's always great to have those kind of coffee scenes where everyone gets to, you get to know more about the person you're talking to. You get to know more about the culture and their background, stuff like that. See, dragon people seem to be very religious, like monks, and very peaceful, but yet they always hunt creatures and eat meat because that's what mostly reptiles do. He also wishes to become like a dragon. That's when he becomes an adventurer, to become something like a dragon. Of course, you have the dwarf. Dwarf's all about, even though he's not as old as the elf or probably even the dragon, he looks the oldest because I guess dwarfs have this thing in fantasy where they're the ones that always have beards and wrinkly old skin, even at a young age. So I definitely wouldn't want to be a dwarf. Then of course we have the elf. The elf, she's actually probably the oldest in the group, but yet ironically she acts the most immature. And that's probably because that's the reason why elves live for such a long time, because it takes a long time for them to, grow up. So you can have an elf girl who's probably still look like she's a teenager, but she's probably 2000 some, because, since I know if I would live that long, I wouldn't want to mature that fast. Since I'm going to have a very long life, I would like to enjoy it the longest I can without having mature. The downside is that it'll probably take a while for you to mature, seeing as in you becoming, or it'll take you longer to adapt to a society in a way, because you're still immature. So like, don't worry, you give her another couple of hundred years, she'll get the hang of it. I would not want to wait a couple hundred years to get the hang of something, even if I do live that long. That requires extreme patience that I do not have. So, like I said before, this was a great coffee scene that they did. You get to know everybody, where they come from, and their goals of being an adventurer. And of course, they even talked about where goblins could have came from. Some say that goblins, or a little story saying that goblins are made by children who make mistakes, or being bad, in a way like some countries do. If you be bad, these certain demons will get you, or if you're bad, Santa Claus will leave you a lump of coal. However, Goblin Slayer had a different theory about the green moon that they have, that the goblins came from the green moon because they were envious of something they didn't have. And in a way, that makes sense, because as you have always seen, most goblins in shows, video games, board games, movies, they're always taking things, they're always raiding, they're always stealing all the time. And probably because they have nothing on their own, so they want to take from everybody else. So that makes some sense in a way, I do agree on that. And then now finally we get to see how this team, aka this party, will come into fruition into next episode. So far, that elf girl, that bow, I haven't seen anyone in a long time use a bow where you can control where arrow is going by the wind. That was pretty interesting to see right there. Anyways, we'll see how this team works together in this next coming episode. Other than that, that's all I got, man. I have to say, this was a good character-driven episode. You get to see everyone's goals, see what they're like, and this was only on the first episode in introducing these characters. Usually, it takes a while to really get to know a character, and we probably haven't gotten only on the surface of these characters, but probably later on in the show, we'll see what they're more about. Because, it takes a while to truly know somebody. You can, know someone for years, and you still don't know everything about them. That's just life. So anyway, that's all I got for this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying Goblin Slayer. It looks pretty good. I'm just glad that all the, controversies out the way now, and we just get back to, enjoying anime and stuff like that. So anyways, you did like this video, please rate, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload. This has been Madcrownxox, sign out. Have a good one.